Let me play out a scenario in your head. You're young, you're well off, and you like your cars fast and quick and small. So you've got the little small two-door hatchback or small sports car. But now you've got a family, you've grown up, you have more responsibilities. So you could do the sensible thing and get yourself a compact luxury SUV. There are plenty of those in the category of about 30-35 lakh rupees. But not all of them are fun to drive. If you do miss your driving, there's only really one alternative to go for. And that's just been refreshed and is now in a new generation. It's the Mini Countryman. And since it does offer great driving pleasure, that's all I'm going to do today. Not just stand still, not point out things to you from the outside or on the interior. I'm just going to drive the pants off that car. The really cool thing about the Mini Countryman is the fact that even though you get that mini badge and all that svelte style that goes along with it, you still get the family car proportions. In fact, this is the largest car ever to get a mini badge on it. And the mini coolness is quite apparent. That very iconic front grille, those squared off headlamps, and that stance in general makes the Countryman look really purposeful, much more than the last generation. It's a car that has an impact when you see it, and that, at least for me, is very important. But enough about the bits on the outside. Let me keep up that promise I made earlier about driving the pants off it and tell you how it feels on the move. Now let's get straight to the point. The real reason why you would buy the Cooper S in the petrol, or in this case the Cooper S JCW-inspired variant, as compared to the more practical diesel, is because you want that power under the bonnet. You want that performance as compared to, say, the standard car, the diesel. Now this, of course, is that very special 2-liter engine. It's the same one that you get in the normal hatchback and the Cooper S convertible, and it still makes 189 horsepower and 280 Newton meters of torque, which are very healthy numbers for a sort of crossover this size. Now it doesn't feel as quick as the Cooper S, the small Cooper S, the 3-door does. That's obvious because this, of course, is a bigger car. But that said, it still gives you that massive smile on your face when you actually drive it, because you still get that really nice sounding exhaust. You still get those hints of pops and crackles in the exhaust, and especially when you do lift off, that little excitement, a little buzz that you have in a Mini is still very much present here. And then, of course, you come to the way this thing actually handles. Now, sadly, in Delhi, we don't have many twisties to take the Cooper S around. But I can tell you this, when you do drive it around in traffic, it is so flickable, it's just the right size for a city in India. And it does get to sort of illegal speeds really quickly, so you do have to be a little careful. And although I do wish it had that JCW exhaust that you got on the last generation cars, the really crazy poppy one, this thing still puts this massive smile on my face that I think almost every single Mini does just so well. While the normal Mini is low slung and has to be driven carefully over Indian roads, the Countryman take a lot more abuse. It is taller, has sufficient clearance, and yes, it is quite fuel efficient too. Just over 14 kilometers per litre according to ARAI test figures. Staggering for a car that is this much fun to drive. While the performance aspect of a Mini does attract a whole bunch of people to the fold, another thing that actually attracts a wider audience is how cool these interiors are. I mean, just look at them. It's so retro inspired. Everything is so sort of, it's got a modern touch to it, but it's so classic still. You've still got that big sort of round gauge cluster. Now, of course, you get a really nice touchscreen with a whole bunch of sort of tech in it. And now, yes, competition might have a bigger touchscreen, might have more tech sort of crammed in. But in terms of sheer design prowess, it's the Mini that really takes the cake and the bakery. And even little touches like these little ridges in the dashboard, they actually light up in the same color as your ambient lighting. And it's just these cool touches that really make a big difference to a buying decision when you talk about, say, a more conventional compact luxury entry-level SUV versus something as cool as this. the Countryman isn't cheap. In fact, after you really spec it out, and spec it you must, the base price of 35 lakh rupees seems far away. And this JCW-inspired variant starts at 41,40,000 rupees, and that is before you start adding in those options. So while the Mini Countryman might not be to everybody's taste and is certainly not very affordable as compared to its larger rivals, it does have a few things like driving dynamics and of course that sheer sub-zero coolness going for it. And for that, I'd love one.